First up, though, I'd like to welcome Anne Galloway. She's People's Choice candidate for Halswell, and she joins me on the line now. Good evening, Anne. Welcome to After Dark.
Thank you. Thank you, Nick. Nice to be here.
Now, you're the incumbent for Halswell, and you're going to run again.
I am indeed.
How do you think this? It's 3 years, isn't it? That would go by pretty quickly.
It is.
Has it been for you in your ward?
In my ward, I think it's been a learning experience for all of us actually, because Halswell hasn't had a city councillor before. So under the new arrangements, this position became available. So we've been learning together about me, how to be a ward councillor, and for them, what it means to have somebody to represent them and to connect them with council.
What was the turnout last time? We've got a photograph of you holding a Get Out and Vote pamphlet, which looks really good. So what was the turnout like for you last time?
Oh, it wasn't great. I think I got about 2,000 and something votes, and I won by 92, I think, over Chris Horn, who was my challenger. Yeah, my challenge to beat.
Okay, so previously, were you part of Hoon Hay? What was the reorganisation there?
In terms of wards,
yeah.
We got more wards, didn't we? To be honest, before I got into this, very little knowledge of government and education.
Oh dear, your line is breaking up. What I'm going to do?
Oh no, is it?
Actually, no, we're okay now. We're okay now.
Oh, is it better?
Yeah, you're fairly near your router.
No, I'm not actually.
Okay, well no,
no,
we're okay now. We can hear you. So sorry, you were saying about the reorganisation.
Yeah. So, I was actually saying I didn't have an awful lot of knowledge about local government, to be honest. I was sort of shoulder tapped by Megan Woods. I was working in the Hoon Hay area, and she said to me, would I be interested in running for the community board? At that point, I didn't actually know what a community board was, and I often remember that because I think many people, we assume a lot about our local, our residents in terms of what they understand and know about how things work. And the community board in that area were very active, so I knew that they were fantastic people doing great stuff. So I said, yeah, that would be great. And then she said, well, actually, because Halswell's a new ward, there's a position going for on the council. So would you be prepared to run for council? So it kind of grew from there, and here I am.
So you ran for the board and for the council at the same time.
I think no, I only ran for council. Yeah, I decided that, well, why not? Just go for it. And I think that gives a really clear message to people that you're serious. And yeah, so here I am.
Goodness me, what did you bring to the job? What did you what were you doing previously?
Well, I've always been involved in education in one sort of field or another. But at that time when I was talking with Megan and got to know Megan, I was working in really a community strengthening program through a program called Hippie, which actually targets families who have not had a great run with education. They're young mums who may have dropped out of school, had babies young, and had not a lot of confidence in their own ability, but also in the whole education system, helping them to work with their preschoolers on numeracy and literacy to get them ready for school. It really breaks that cycle of non-achievement. And it was through that, it's building a community, and it's through that strengthening of a community that I think that I was known in the area. So yeah, a lot of people know me, and I know a lot of people. So I think I'm a very connected person to the community, and I think that really was what got me over the line.
How did you find the standards of literacy and numeracy at the council?
I work with some very able and intelligent and capable people. Yep.
What, round the council table or across the board with the civil servants?
All actually. Yeah, I'm amazingly impressed with the expertise that we have in the council organisation.
Now, do you
People
think?
who actually, sorry, yeah.
Sorry about that. Do you think your ward have been impressed with you and what you've
Well,
done?
I'm so. I'm hoping so. I think actually it's been really good to have this opportunity, because it has caused me to obviously reflect on the last 3 years and to think about what I've achieved. And I was actually out door knocking around Westmoreland the other day and met Dr. Jean Drage. I don't know if you know her, but she writes the political columns for the press. And I had great chat with her. And we talked about what it means to represent your community. And she's written that elected mayors and councillors are there to represent the interests of those who have elected them. So they need a clear understanding of accountability, knowledge of their communities and local issues, along with existing community involvement is also essential. And I think actually an election is all about accountability. This is about the opportunity for people to say, well, yeah, you've done a pretty good job or not.
So what are you accountable for over this last 3 years? What have you done, or maybe what have you not done?
Well, I think I'm accountable for what I said I was going to do. And that was the statement, you make that 150-word statement that sits with you, your picture in the candidate's booklet. And I spoke all about connected communities, strong communities that know each other, that there's a sense of belonging, healthy communities in terms of environmentally healthy. But also I spoke about leaving a legacy. And I believe that really strongly, that two questions that I think are important. It's what do you want to be known for, and what do you want to be remembered for? And so legacy for me is important. So I believe that I have worked really hard to actually fulfill those that expectation and to meet that expectation. So there's a lot of things I've achieved. I think the most important thing for me is that I understand that children and young people are our future, and I hope, and I believe I have, brought that lens to the decision making around the council table. Right from the get-go, we worked together collaboratively as a council to set up our strategic priorities, and I was able to get included in that to listen to and value the voices of our young people. And that's, for me, really important and really key. When I first came into council, I was astounded at the huge gap between the people I was working with and the civic building and the democratic process, really. So most of the people that I worked with, who are of lower socioeconomic families, I would not know the civic building unless they fell over it, or if they had to come in to pay a fine. So I'm not sure. I was very aware that they didn't have a sense of a voice in the city and in the decision making. So I've worked really hard to actually be that voice, to be that connection for them to civic activity and to democratic process. And that includes young people.
Were there any other former teachers around the council table, or were you the only one?
Yes, there are actually. Sarah Templeton is a former teacher. I believe she was English teacher. Yeah, So
okay, so it's been good that you've been attending to that side of the democratic process of inclusion. 3 years is not a long time, and you talked about legacy. No. What else have you done, either for the community at large or for your ward, that could be construed as legacy in years to come?
Right. Do you want a list?
No, seriously. We can go.
Yeah.
You don't need to. We can discuss each item, but please, do go through a list.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, the first thing I was pleased to be able to do was to actually secure the old Halswell Library. It was going to be sold, and I advocated for it to be kept in community ownership, and it is now the community hub in Halswell and is the home for many thriving community groups. The Halswell community is a very strong network and connects about 9,000 people, I think, on their Facebook page to all sorts of activities. So the old Halswell Library is now in community ownership for $1 a year, I think, is the rental that we pay the council. So that was a really good thing to do. I set up a group that I meet with regularly once a month now. We were 6 weekly, but now it's once a month, where I invited people who represented different groups within the community. So the multicultural group, the elderly, more senior citizens within our community, people who work with youth. Chris Horn actually is part of that. And we meet and have a coffee once a month, and it keeps me in touch with the issues that are present and are important for me to know within the local community. So that's been a really good thing to have done. And I've found that incredibly useful as the residents' elected representative. I've actually initiated a student council too, and so I've gathered kids from all the local schools together, and we've met probably twice a term, I suppose, and the kids have brought their issues to that. And behind the motivation for doing that is because I really believe that we're not teaching our kids about civics, and I'm really concerned that the apathy and the lack of interest and the lack of connection in the democratic process. So this is a way, I believe, I meet with them, their teachers come along, and we've identified some projects. They've come and talked to council about the fact that they want the speed reduced around their community so that they can bike and walk and scooter to school safely. They actually want to be able to play out on the footpath and not worry. I've talked to the council about the fact that kids don't have a good understanding of speed, so it's very hard for them to judge a car's speed. So these kids have advocated for a 30k speed zone around their schools, and we're kind of working towards that. We've got 40k's in a lot of streets around Halswell, and we hope to get some more. They've also got involved in making Westlake Park a plastic-free park, so they're concerned about the environment. So these kids I've connected them with council staff, and we've got an event coming up on September the 11th, where all the community will come together, learn about the park. We've got rangers there, we've got bird experts that will talk to, and we've got a barbecue going. The kids will learn about the biodiversity of the area, and we'll also do a bit of education. They want to make signs so that people don't drop litter, and we want to make it plastic free. So they're into that.
It's very interesting, Anne. I mean, we're just about out of time. Excuse me now for your segment, but you're the first person that I've spoken to on the program actually across all of the issues that we discuss. You're very clearly you've invested a lot in young people. And you're in there to bat for them, so good on you. And
thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's only 15 minutes, so I have to, in fairness to the other candidates, move on now.
That's fine.
But it was my pleasure
Nick, look, it's been really lovely having the opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure to speak with Anne Galloway, People's Choice candidate for Halswell, and good luck to you in the forthcoming local elections.
Thanks so much, Nick.
Okay, good night, Anne. Thank you. Right, coming up very shortly, I'll be speaking with the City Missioner, Matthew Mark, here on After Dark.